How you doing, Mr. DJ here, back pursuing countdown of one of my fancy playlists. Boy, compiled a whole bunch of them over the years, still doing it too to this day. It's this one of July 24th, 1994. I can't believe it's been 22 years ago since I compiled this particular fancy playlist. Of course, a lot of the artists who were really hot back then no longer hear from them very much anymore. And one of them was Ace of Base at number 6 on my fancy playlist, down from number 2 the previous week. They were very hot in the 90s. All That She Wants was their first big American hit in the fall of 1993. There was The Sign. The Sign was probably one of their best records. Early 1994, Living in Danger. And of course, we got song at number 6, Don't Turn Around. I think it was called It's a Beautiful Life, one of their songs they did back in 1995. That great dance record, but it wasn't a big hit for them over here in the States. Ace of Base from Sweden. But I want to get into who wrote this song. Boy, I found out something really fascinating about this song, Don't Turn Around by Ace of Base. It's been covered before by a couple of other artists, but the song was written by Albert Hammond and Diane Warren. And I don't even know where to start on this. Well, first off, Albert Hammond, you might remember Albert Hammond had that hit, It Never Rains in Southern California in 1972, and his more obscure ones like Free Electric Band, 1973. There was a song about the train in 1974. And Albert Hammond and Diane Warren, they teamed up in 1986, and they wrote the song Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, which went to number 1 for Jefferson Starship in 1987. Mickey Thomas and Grace Slick singing a duet on that record. Now, here's the thing about this. Oh, Diane Warren. We've got to talk about Diane Warren real quick. I've mentioned her before numerous times, so I'm not going to try to overdo it this time. Diane Warren she wrote a load of songs back in the 80s and 90s. She's not well known to the general public, but among the songwriters, among the pop people, the insiders back in the 80s and 90s, she was very well known. She wrote Rhythm of the Night, How Do I Live, which was done by Leanne Rimes, and Till It Happens to You. She wrote that recently with Lady Gaga. That was a hit on the dance charts by Lady Gaga recently. And she wrote the song Music in My Heart. Boy, that brings back some memories. Love that record. Back in the fall of 1999, I do believe, it was by NSYNC and Gloria Estefan. It was vintage Diane Warren. And of course, one of the biggest hits that Diane Warren wrote was, she wrote several things for Celine Dion, but she also wrote I Never Miss a Thing. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith, which came out back in 1998. So with all that out of the way, Diane Warren and Albert Hammond, they wrote this record, Don't Turn Around. It was written for Tina Turner. It was the B-side, The Typical Male, which was one of Tina Turner's comeback hits in the 80s. Went top 10, I believe. Fall of 1986 by Tina Turner. And Don't Turn Around was the B-side. And Diane Warren was reportedly unhappy with the record company, Tina Turner's record company, for making that song a B-side. And they didn't even put it on Tina Turner's album. But it was covered by Luther Ingram. If Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right. Remember that? And in 1988, a British reggae group called Aswad, A-S-W-A-D, Aswad, they took that song to number 1 in Britain in 1988. It also went to number 1 in New Zealand, number 4 in the Netherlands, number 6 in Belgium, the reggae version by Aswad. And then 1994, Ace of Base, they cut this song for the album called The Sign. The Sign was their American debut album, which was released in 1993, 1994. And the version by Ace of Base did very well. Went to number 5 in England and number 4 here in the U.S. Number 6 on my fancy playlist, July 24th, 1994, Don't Turn Around, written by Albert Hammond. God, I love that song he did back in 73, Free Electric Band. That was one of the most brilliant songs ever. And also written by Diane Warren, Don't Turn Around.